everybody, welcome to the Blog Way. I'm Jessica, and today's video is going to be about easing into the new homeschool year or the new year in your homeschool without overwhelm. Transitions are hard, and not just for our kids, they are hard for us as adults. They are just difficult. And coming off of the holiday high and the late nights and the sugar and the gifts and the parties and the excitement of it all, and trying to go back to a routine that you probably haven't done in its entirety in at least a month is difficult. Again, not just for our kids, but for us as the parents too. So what we like to do in January is keep it simple. And I know that's like really difficult because if you're anything like me, you're looking at January and it's blank and it's a fresh start and you're like, oh, but I could plan and I could color code and I could have a routine and a schedule and a rhythm and I could do all of these really fun things. And you're like mentally thinking, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to just throw all of this at my kid and it's going to be a recipe for disaster. Ask me how I know, because I've done it year after year after year and it never ever works. It is a fail because, again, transitions are hard. So what I like to do for the first 6 to 8 weeks of a new homeschool year is give myself and Emily grace. And by giving us grace, I choose to pick 1 to 3 things that are like our bare minimums, things that fill her bucket, things that fill my bucket, things that are still kind of like learning but fun, and things that help us get back into some kind of routine. So we're making that transition. We're just doing it in a simple, smooth, slow, graceful, enjoyable way. So because of that, I created what I like to call a book and a game a day challenge. This was born probably 5 or more years ago. And when she was younger, it was simple. She would pick a picture book, we would play a game. A lot of the times that looked like us, reading one of the like circumference books and playing Some Swamp. Or, reading, whatever the picture book was that she was interested in. Maybe that specific day it was about monkeys and we would play monkey bingo or, bananagrams or something, right? It just looked like us trying to have like that table time and connecting and getting back in the habit of having some sort of routine. We'd read a book, we'd play a game, and that was it. If we did those 2 things, it was a successful homeschool day. If we did more, great. But I was realistic and I gave me and her both grace. And if we did those 2 things, I was happy, the day was a success, and I just let it go. As she hit about middle school age, we created discovery decks. And so that is now what our January and sometimes even into February looks like. It looks like us reading together, playing together, and exploring her curiosity together. So it is simple as us reading a chapter from a book, a page from a book. Sometimes it's her reading a graphic novel or her reading something. Sometimes it's us reading together, but it's reading in some form. It's playing in some form, card game, dice game, board game, video game, role-playing game. It may even look like us going outside and playing cornhole or something, some sort of physical game, pickleball, whatever, but it's reading in some form, playing in some form, and then exploring in some form of her curiosity. So that's just using one of our discovery decks. So she will pick a few topics that she's interested in, and I will let her then choose whichever card sounds good to her that day. Typically she does these over breakfast, so I will leave a couple out as an option. She will eat breakfast and watch the video of the discovery deck card, which kind of starts our day in an educational, exploratory way. Sometimes what we read and play has to do with that, or it's inspired by what she's learned or what she's curious about. And then again, we will read and we will play at some point in that day. If that's all we do, great, it was a successful day. If we do more, that's just icing on the cake. Like it's just like, hey, that was bonus. I'm glad we got to that. I'm glad we did more. I'm glad we explored that, or maybe she got a math lesson done, but I don't put that pressure on her or on me. Simple is like the best because again, we need to form that routine again. We need to start like the ball rolling, and this is a great way to get it rolling because it's things that she loves, it's things that I love, it's ways for us to connect with each other or as a family. So we read, we play, and we explore. That's it. We do that for like 6 to 8 weeks to start our school year back, and we just kind of slowly keep adding and rolling into, and by the time spring rolls around, we're kind of back into our full rhythm at that point. But I've learned that giving us grace is the best way to transition back into the homeschool routine after the holidays with very, very little overwhelm and burnout. Otherwise, We are rolling in from the holidays, then our February blues and the winter blues kind of hit, and we're like butting heads, and it's never good. But this is always successful. Like, it's always super successful. And the things that she learns during this time period always blow me away, because it leaves space for her to explore on her own, or to be creative, or maybe to do some of the projects and things that she got over the Christmas holidays, maybe build the Legos that she got as a gift, or, it just gives her that blank space to be able to do that. And it gives us that space to kind of explore and see what she's interested in, and maybe even guide our next term in our homeschool, because I'm seeing like, oh, she's really curious about this. Maybe this is what we do in the spring. So it's perfect for our homeschool, and maybe it's perfect for yours too. Now let's talk about our specific plans for this like new homeschool year. Emily received a lot of Lord of the Rings things for Christmas because she's slightly obsessed. So her request is that we read from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Now, are we going to get through all 4 of these? I don't know. We're going to start with The Hobbit, and we're going to work our way through. Where we are is where we are. And then some of the games that we will be playing for the next little bit. We have Spot It, Lord of the Rings. We have Uno, Lord of the Rings. We have the Lord of the Rings Fellowship trick-taking game. This one is cooperative, which is kind of a nice change of pace, because then we're not competing against each other, we're competing against the game. We have the Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. This is a duel, so it's a 2-player game, which is really nice because, again, I'm homeschooling an only child. So that means that we don't always have to all be playing a game together. It means her and I can play, or her and Kevin can play. We have the adventure book game, Lord of the Rings. So this is playing through the trilogy of Lord of the Rings in 8 chapters. So it's one that we will play over the course of time, because like each chapter is a new flip of the book, which kind of like changes the board altogether. So it's essentially like 8 games in one. And then the one that her and Kevin are the most excited about is we have a 5e, which is basically D&D inspired Lord of the Rings, and this is the starter set. So this is a role-playing game. So this is another one that will be played multiple times throughout like the whole course of the 6 to 8 weeks. And then the last thing is Discovery decks. And Emily is also equally obsessed with animals. So one of the decks that she asked me to pull was the Animal Showdown. I think she's also probably going to do Wacky Wildlife, endangered animals, and I'm sure she'll probably also pull maybe like horses or bears. She is like obsessed with animals. So any of the animal decks is what she's going to gravitate to. And I have no problem with that, because 9 times out of 10, her watching a video about an animal or learning about it will end up leading us down all these rabbit trails to where they live. So we're learning about geography, or maybe like the science or the scientists that did something, that discovered something, and the next thing you know, we're learning about something else. It's wonderful. That's what I love about child and interest-led learning. So if animals is what makes her happy, that's what we're going to go with, and we are going to learn more about that. I did also pull, I don't know if we'll do it because, again, bare minimum, but I did also pull our Who Was J.R.R. Tolkien book and mini unit, because we have that available to us. And so depending on how in-depth she wants to go, that is something that I like have on the back burner. So there's that. So there you have it. That is my simple plan for a easy, graceful, hopefully peaceful transition back to the homeschool year. It is to read, to play, and to explore her curiosity together. Now, if this plan sounds great and it's something you would like to do, I have, for the month of January, decided to put all of our Discovery decks on a special promotion. No code is needed. Anytime you buy one deck, you will get a second deck free. It's just automatic. You add 2 to your cart, and one is going to be marked $0. That is for the entire month of January. So if you decide now that you want something super simple to add to your homeschool that like literally requires nothing from you, you can go pick a topic and have your child pick a topic, or you can pick 2 different topics for maybe 2 different kids and let them learn on their own so that it's less stress. Or if you decide halfway through the month, when maybe you've overwhelmed yourself, that you need something simpler to take a break, that option will still be available to you. So I will leave a link to all of the different topics, because we have over 50 different topics available now in our discovery decks, so that you can check them out and buy one and get one free. If you have planned your January homeschool or your transition back, I would love to hear in the comments what that looks like for you.